The Massie Lagoon waterfowl production area is located in the Nebraska Rainwater Basin, located 2.5 miles south of a city called Clay Center, Nebraska. The LiDAR image shows a series of basins that overlap, which means that these basins were made by a quick succession of adjacent impacts. Welcome to another edition of the Carolina Bay of the Day, where we study the secondary impacts made by the glacier-ice boulders that were ejected by one or more extraterrestrial impacts on the Laurentide ice sheet. There's a link to the LiDAR visualization tool for Google Earth by Michael Davies in the description of the video. In the title of the video, I mentioned that these Nebraska rainwater basins were stacked like pancakes, but it was easier to represent their configuration with a stack of coins viewed at an angle. The Nebraska rainwater basins and other impact basins like the Carolina Bays are found from the Rocky Mountains to the east coast of the United States. The elliptical geometry of the impact basins indicates that they originated as inclined conical cavities that became shallow depressions by viscous relaxation. The Massie Lagoon waterfowl production area habitat includes 494 acres of wetland and 359 acres of upland with a mixed grass prairie. Massie is an excellent basin to see shoreline, edge and grassline bird species and is one of the best rainwater basin lagoons for waterfowl and shorebirds. The Massie Lagoon is part of a large elliptical basin with marshes that supported over 7,000 spring shorebirds between 1997 and 2001. Waterfowl include many species such as snow geese, Canada geese, pintails, and mallards. An observation blind is provided for visitors close to the parking lot on the south side of the lagoon. The city of Clay Center is the county seat of Clay County, Nebraska, located about 4 miles north of the Massie Lagoon. The population was 760 at the 2010 census. I verified the population of 760 by looking at the sign at the entrance to the city on Highway 41. Nebraska roads form a grid of 1 mile squares, and usually there are 4 pivot irrigation systems in each square mile that show up as green circles on the satellite image. From the number of pivot irrigation systems, it is evident that Clay Center is a farming community. Corn is Nebraska's most widely grown crop. The corn is used as feed for livestock and poultry and also to make ethanol fuel. The website of Clay Center provides a snapshot of life in the heart of Nebraska. Neighbors, businesses, and organizations of Clay Center are committed to helping one another thrive. The website provides information about finding a home, enrolling children in school, discovering an employer, and finding a house of worship. Clay Center is a safe and welcoming community that provides a great place to raise a family and get involved with local service organizations. The city values hard work and has numerous local, regional, and national businesses, as well as local attractions and annual community events. Clay Center offers an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school, all within a 6-mile range. The Clay Center Community Medical Center is served by 1 doctor 4 days per week and a nurse practitioner 1 day per week. 2 nursing homes serve the community. A volunteer fire department, a 24-hour volunteer emergency medical technician and ambulance service, an active community club, various youth organizations, and a senior center keep people involved in the welfare of the community. Local businesses provide the basic needs, including agricultural supplies and many personal and professional services. Clay Center does not have a Starbucks or McDonald's, so for breakfast you fry bacon and eggs with a side of hash browns and brew your own coffee. Then you work from dawn to dusk, taking care of your animals and your fields. Clay Center is also the headquarters of the USDA Agricultural Research Service that conducts meat animal research and studies nutrition, growth, physiology, and animal health genomics. Clay Center is a small city, but it makes a significant contribution to the food that we put on our table. Each year, Clay Center residents look forward to a number of community events. During the 4th of July celebration, people line the town square to watch the parade featuring fire equipment, horses, and antique cars. The parade is followed by a barbecue served in the park and tournaments of golf, basketball, and softball. An array of fireworks ends the day. In midsummer, the Clay County Fair has competitions for the best fruits, vegetables, crafts, and livestock. This is life in the heart of Nebraska. The Massie Lagoon waterfowl production area is highlighted in this image. The road leading to the observation area can also be seen. There is a street view available of Massie Lagoon on Highway NE 14 where the road approaches the rim of the basin. The street view from Highway NE14 shows a hill, which is the rim of the basin. The berm has a sign saying that the Massie waterfowl production area is maintained by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Department of the Interior. The terrain features in Nebraska originated as a quick succession of adjacent oblique impacts that created overlapping elliptical basins. Adjacent impacts can partially cover previously created basins as illustrated by the experimental model. Subsequent erosion by water can destroy the boundaries between the basins. A paper presented at the Geological Society of America annual meeting in 2001 by Zanner and Kusila compared Nebraska's rainwater basins to the Carolina Bays, and the authors proposed an Aeolian origin. They say, quote, "Our hypothesis is that the basins on the current land surface originally formed as blowouts or low spots in abandoned Platte River fluvial sands and gravels. The approximately 27,000 radiocarbon years and later, loess actually draped a pre-existing topography formed in these sands." The word loess basically means wind-blown dust. We also offer that these features would be recognized as an analog of the Carolina Bays if not for the loess cover. This suggests that the Carolina Bays are not unique features, and any explanation for their existence should also help explain Nebraska's rainwater basins. End quote. I should point out that the elliptical geometry and the overlap of the basins is better explained as a result of inclined conical cavities, because ellipses are conic sections. An article published in 2008 says that the lowest deposition in Nebraska occurred between about 25,000 and 13,000 calendar years before the present. The article goes on to say that the winds that deposited the lowest were from the west or northwest, and that the sources of the lowest lay to the west or northwest. We can understand the source of the loess by recalling that between 25,000 and 13,000 years before the present, the Cordilleran ice sheet and the Laurentide ice sheet started to melt, and the corridor opened across Canada between the two ice sheets. Some scientists have proposed that the ice-free corridor was used by humans as a roadway to colonize America. The image on the left shows a glacier in Alaska with layers of powdered rock that is produced when the ice grinds against the rocky surfaces. When the ice melts, the dust in the ice is deposited as glacial till or moraines. Strong northwesterly winds channeled between the two ice sheets could have carried the dust toward Nebraska, as shown in the image on the right. The fact that a layer of loess covers the Nebraska rainwater basins does not mean that the impact basins were created before the loess was deposited. Impacts on unconsolidated soil part the medium, and the stratigraphy is restored by viscous relaxation, as demonstrated in this experiment, in which an ice projectile penetrates a red layer in the target, and the stratigraphy is restored when the depth of the cavity is reduced from the bottom up. Massie Lagoon is located 1,008 kilometers from Lake Michigan, which is assumed to be the point from which the ice boulder was launched based on the orientation of the basin. The basin has a width of 1,350 meters and a length of 2,710 meters. The width-to-length ratio corresponds to an impact angle of 29.9 degrees. The diameter of the glacier ice projectile that made the basin is estimated to be 542 meters, which is 1/5 of the basin length. Erosion for thousands of years created an opening that has caused the small and large basins to merge. The ballistic equations indicate that the glacier ice boulder that made this basin was launched at a speed of 3.382 kilometers per second. It had a flight time of 5.73 minutes and reached a height of 145 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. The trajectory was a suborbital spaceflight in the vacuum of space. The kinetic energy of the impact that made Massie Lagoon was equivalent to 105 megatons of TNT, which would have caused seismic vibrations of magnitude 8.83. The bases made by the secondary impacts of ice boulders ejected by one or more extraterrestrial impacts on the Laurentide ice sheet 12,900 years ago can be found from the Rocky Mountains to the Atlantic coast. Studying the impact basins, we discover the diverse terrain conditions where these geological structures are found, and we also get the opportunity to learn about the local communities that make a living on this land. Thank you for joining me in the investigation of the Carolina Bays and the Younger Dryas Cataclysm. I will continue to examine the Carolina Bays one bay at a time. My book about the Carolina Bays is available at Amazon. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel to be notified of future videos about the Carolina Bays.